two places at once. The glow of the screen, black background, bleeding green letters. Secret, underground, ancient, flicker like insects against glass. And yet, beneath my feet, there is grit, damp with the breath of the jungle night, because I am also outside the excavation fence at Trang An. The banners flap in the humid air, warning trespassers away from the UNESCO site where bones older than memory wait to surface. The forum refreshes. A moderator, whose name is only a glyph, posts, "Password accepted, your name." I feel my lungs collapse, because the password is me. The archaeologist bends inside the pit, brushes strokes over soil, delicate as eyelids trembling. A skull rises, ochre-stained, ancient, but with cheekbones I could recognise in my own mirror. Tourists gather at the barricade, flashbulbs strobe. The same moment, the forum sidebar lights up, ancient skull unearthed. Link after link, RSS feeds bleeding into one another. I click. It's the same headline in English, Chinese, French, then Arabic script that bleeds backward into English again. Ancient skull unearthed at UNESCO heritage site. Breath, closer to the mic. They are describing me. On the forum, a masked speaker appears in a grainy live stream. His voice is distorted, metallic underwater. Secret, underground, ancient, skull. Each word is a key. Each key turns my stomach tighter. And when he tilts his mask, the background behind him is not a room. It is an aerial view. The very dig site I'm standing outside of, time-stamped to the minute I logged in. The moderator whispers through typed lines, "C'est toi," and the translation bleeds instantly. It is you. Sand ships. The brush reveals eye sockets. They match the curve of mine. The tourists gasp, not because it is old, but because it is exact. I try to log off. The forum demands another key. My name again. And when I whisper it, the wind through the dig lifts a veil of dust, and I see ribs pushing up through the soil, still rising, like lungs inflating, like something buried that has not finished breathing. The masked speaker lifts his hand. The archaeologist lifts his brush. Both gestures are mirrors. Both gestures point to me. I feel the crowd lean in. I feel the forum users type faster, their words cascading like insects across the dark screen. Underground, secret, ancient, password accepted, and then the soil gave a sigh, as though the earth itself had lungs, as though the pit was no longer a hollow, but a throat. Whispered hum, like cables vibrating. The archaeologist staggered back, his brush still trembling in his hand. He whispered something in Vietnamese I couldn't catch, but the tourist repeated it in hushed awe. On my screen, the forum translated in jagged captions. Password, breath, alive. I bent closer to the barricade. The skull was no longer still. The mandible shifted, a stuttering click of bone against bone. Dust fountain from the nostrils. A sound like wet paper tearing escaped the pit. On the forum, new lines unfurled. Al-Raz, Al-Azam, Al-Sir. Then, distorted. The head, the bone, the secret. I closed my eyes. Behind my lids, I saw the mask. The speaker leaning forward. His pupils were not human, just voids where all the RSS feeds converged. Each headline I had ever clicked was written inside those eyes. I opened my eyes again to the excavation. The skull's sockets were no longer empty. Something glistened deep inside, wet and new, as though eyes had just remembered how to grow. Tourists screamed. The archaeologist dropped his brush. One of them kept filming, his phone shaking. The image streamed back into the forum, a thumbnail multiplying across threads. Ancient skull unearthed. Mimi Jie Anhao. Cult groups exploit messaging apps. Over and over, the same line, the same phrase. wanted to scream, but only static emerged. The forum glitched. My webcam light flicked on by itself. In the corner of the excavation, the tourists gasped louder, pointing, not at the pit, but at me outside the barricade. My own image flickered on their phones, my name whispered by the masked speaker and echoed by strangers in every language. The archaeologist lifted the skull fully, his cranium cracked, peeling like fruit skin, and beneath was flesh, damp, pale, shivering. It inhaled a rattling breath, and its ribs pushed free, tearing soil, slick with red clay and something darker. And it turned its head toward me. The forum collapsed into one single chant, letters streaming like code, but forming a voice I could hear through the screen and the air at once. Secret, underground, ancient, you. I tried to step back. The barricade bars froze against my spine. The crowd was silent now, every eye fixed on me. The mask on screen leaned so close I thought he would push through the glass. And the thing in the pit, myself, unearthed, opened its mouth, and I felt the same opening in mine, mirrored, involuntary. What it spoke was not language, not sound, but an exhalation that carried centuries. A scream muted into a whisper, and in that whisper I heard the official decree of the forum, of the excavation, of the night itself. You cannot log out. Pause. Long static. The tourists scattered. The archaeologist wept. The moderator posted nothing more. But the mask remained. The pit kept breathing, and I could no longer tell which body was mine. The ribs that heaved in the soil pressed outward like wings unfolding, each bone slick with red clay and something darker that smelled of rust and salt. My chest above ground mirrored the convulsion. I clutched myself, felt phantom fractures, as if my sternum had been rewritten by dirt. Low crackle, a hush threading through cables. The archaeologist shouted, his voice breaking. Kong the now, it breathes. The tourist phones all chimed at once, push notifications exploding like a chorus. Hidden forum used as recruitment hub, sparks investigation. The headlines didn't belong to this country, yet here they were, spilling across every local screen, warped and inescapable. On the forum, someone typed Al-Hakika Tat al-Turab, and then it glitched back into English, the truth beneath the soil. I pressed my palms to my ears, but the sound was inside, not outside. The mask leaned closer, pixel static dripping from his silhouette. He hissed, The skull fits. I couldn't breathe, because he was right. The skull was shaped like me, the jawline exact, the teeth identical. And yet, it was still moving, still alive, even as I suffocated in the humid night. The mask whispered one final command: accept the password. And then the unearthed body opened its mouth, wider than any jaw should, tearing ligaments, snapping cartilage, until the gape was a cavern. Inside that mouth were screens, hundreds of them, each glowing, each flashing the same word in every language. Secret, secret, secret. I fell to my knees. The tourists were gone. The barricade dissolved into mist. The forum interface bled across my vision until the jungle itself became a monitor and every leaf a pixel. The archaeologist looked up at me, his face lit by an invisible glow, and whispered, "You were already buried. Tonight is only the unveiling." The unearthed me lurched free of the soil, chest heaving, ribs cracking outward. I reached to stop it, but my own limbs betrayed me, mirroring the gestures. Two bodies moving as one, and then the jungle itself seemed to hush, as if all cicadas and nightbirds had been silenced by an older, deeper rhythm. The unearthed body stumbled forward, still tangled in roots and fragments of pottery. Its mouth closed with a wet snap, and when it opened again, the voice that came was not mine, not human, but an amalgam of the forum's threads. Distorted syllables layered over each other. Mot de passe, Azir, secret, toi, you. Each word scraped against my eardrum like a blade. I gagged, doubling over, tasting clay and copper on my tongue. When I looked up, I saw that the body's face was no longer just like mine. It was mine, present tense, mirrored in every twitch and grimace. Static crackle, then breath dragging slow across the mic. The archaeologist whispered prayers, fingers digging into soil as if to bury himself. The tourists had fled, but their devices remained on the ground, still recording. Their lenses pointed at me, at us, red lights blinking like a ritual circle. The mask on the forum finally removed its disguise. What lay beneath was not a face, but another skull, jaw unhinged, text streaming from its eye sockets like ticker tape. Each fragment was a headline. Darknet cult groups exploit messaging apps. Kaogu, 对在西九之旅一直挖掘不明遗骸 découvertes archéologiques en Egypte. The words scrolled into my vision until the jungle vanished. All that remained was text. The unearthed body gripped my throat with soil-slick fingers. Cold, damp, strong. Yet as it squeezed, I felt no external pressure. Instead, my own hands above ground clamped around my own neck. A perfect sync. I choked, eyes bulging, while the skull mask's voice whispered, "You are both. You are neither." I tried to scream, but only dirt poured from my mouth. Worms wriggled with it, pale and blind, tumbling down my chest. My ribs burned. My heart thumped a beat out of rhythm with itself. One pulse from the buried flesh, another from the surface husk. The archaeologist rose at last, tears streaking his face. "We must cover it," he pleaded, but the moderator's voice boomed from every abandoned phone, every thread. "Il est la preuve." He is the proof. And in that instant, I understood. The excavation was not uncovering history, it was excavating me. My identity was both password and artifact. The cult had not chosen me, it had exhumed me. Whisper fades, only hum remains. The unearthed body leaned close. Its lips brushed my ear, though its breath was cold soil. It whispered, "Alakika lam tantai," and the translation flooded through me. The truth has not ended. The forum froze. The mask shattered into static. The archaeologist fainted. The tourist devices flickered one by one into tried to step back, but my feet sank. The earth swallowed my ankles, my calves. The body in front of me smiled, lips cracked, as if inviting me down. I whispered my name one last time, hoping to sever the connection. But the soil only tightened, and the echo that rose was not